There's no question that the Chinese economy is unstable. But how awful is it really? And what does it portend for the future of the second largest economy in the world? We'll examine the current situation of the Chinese economy and its outlook in this video. China's current economic difficulties are a result of a variety of reasons. However, there's need to implement accurate policy measures to make the economy sustainable. First is the nation's dependence on exports. This strategy served China well during rising global demand, but as other nations' economic growth has slowed recently, it's become a problem. A substantial labor shortage is beginning to develop in China due to the country's rapidly aging population. The last element is the ongoing corruption issue, which discourages foreign investment and reduces domestic productivity. Together, these elements have contributed to a slowdown in China's economic growth. Contrary to popular belief, growth fell from 10% annually in 2010 to just 6.7% in 2016. This is a serious problem for a country that's become accustomed to rapid growth and is today struggling to maintain its standard of living. What then lies ahead for China? While some analysts believe the country is approaching a financial crisis, others believe that it will be able to survive the current downturn and continue growing in the years to come. Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: China's economy is facing serious challenges. In recent months, several reports and articles have explored the possibility of an economic collapse in China. While some believe such a collapse is inevitable, others believe that the Chinese government will be able to manage the country's economy effectively. Many notable personalities suggested many important measures to come out of this economic collapse. George Soros has warned about China's economic collapse and proposed some important measures to come out of the collapse. In an interview with Bloomberg, Soros said that China has a major adjustment problem. I would say it's almost inevitable that they will have a hard landing. I don't see how they can avoid it. Soros said the Chinese economy is in a bubble, and the country's debt levels are unsustainable. He warned that the Chinese economy could collapse within the next year and that the resulting economic crisis would be worse than the 2008 financial crisis. The 2008 financial crisis was caused by a housing bubble that popped, leading to the collapse of Lehman Brothers and the near collapse of the global financial system. If the Chinese economy were to collapse, it would have a devastating effect on the global economy. Soros's comments come as China's stock market has been in turmoil recently, with several high-profile business failures and a series of regulatory crackdowns. To come out of this slump, George Soros has proposed several measures that could help to stabilize the situation. However, there are other issues at play here that must be addressed. For instance, the problems with the country's banking system must be fixed, and the government must be more transparent in handling the economy. It's also clear that the Chinese people suffer greatly from the economic collapse. It's evidenced by the large number of protests that have taken place in recent months. The government must do more to help the people and be willing to make some tough decisions to get the economy back on track. Without these changes, it's unlikely that China will be able to recover fully from this crisis. Cathie Wood is also one of the significant figures who has warned of China's economic collapse early, and thus suggested some important measures to come out of this severe threatening economic collapse. She suggested that the government should increase infrastructure investment and reduce taxes to stimulate the economy. The country should reduce its export dependence and focus more on domestic consumption. Wood also suggested that the government should provide more support for small businesses. The country should improve its education system to give people the skills they need to succeed in the global economy. The economic collapse of China has had far-reaching implications for the rest of the world. As one of the largest economies in the world, China's collapse has had a domino effect on other countries, particularly in terms of trade. The Chinese government has taken steps to mitigate the fallout from the collapse, but it remains to be seen how effective these measures will be in the long term. Cathie Wood suggests that one way to protect yourself from the economic collapse of China is by diversifying investments. By diversifying, you can reduce your overall risk and increase your chances of weathering any economic turbulence with investments not as quick wins or short-term gains, but as part of a long-term strategy. Moreover, another notable personality is Michael Burry, who made an early warning of the economic collapse and has given significant suggestions to come out of the economic collapse. One of the main issues that contributed to the economic collapse of China was a lack of communication between different agencies. If the various agencies had communicated better, they could have avoided many of the problems that led to the collapse. Another way that China can improve its economy is by encouraging domestic consumption. It will help to boost the country's economy and will also help create jobs. Another significant way China can improve its economy is by creating a stable financial environment. It will attract foreign investment and help to create jobs. Moreover, China needs to take a long-term view of its economy. It means making decisions that will benefit the country in the long run rather than short-term gains. However, several imbalances in the Chinese economy need to be addressed to improve the country's economic situation. These include the imbalances between the rural and urban areas and between coastal and inland regions. In addition, Bill Gates and Nouriel Roubini are the most significant personalities to warn of the Chinese economic collapse early to make some significant measures to avoid this collapse. In an interview with Bloomberg, Bill Gates warned that the Chinese government's debt levels were unusual and could lead to an economic collapse. He said the country's high borrowing levels were not necessarily a sign of impending doom, but cautioned that it was something to monitor. Nouriel Roubini, an American economist who teaches at New York University's Stern School of Business, is well known for his pessimistic predictions about the global economy. In 2006, he accurately predicted the housing market crash and the ensuing financial crisis. Recently, he's been warning about an impending economic collapse in China. Roubini believes that China's economic problems are structural and that the country is heading for a hard landing. He suggests that the Chinese government should take steps to stimulate the economy in the short term while simultaneously implementing reforms to address the root causes of the country's problems. Roubini's suggestions for China are similar to the measures taken by the United States during the Great Depression. The Chinese government should increase government spending and cut taxes to spur economic activity. Roubini believes China needs to make its economy more efficient and productive in the long term. While Roubini's predictions about the global economy have been accurate in the past, it remains to be seen whether his suggestions for China will help the country avoid an economic collapse. Thus, the government must take some significant measures to drive economic sustainability. However, many significant personalities have suggested ways to come out of this collapse. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more knowledgeable content.